Hello, everyone. You have tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Alliance, and Cops for Kids is our sponsor of this show. With me today is Senator Jim Merritt. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you for being with us today. And I know short notice, and you were more than eager to help us out. And I sure appreciate you coming over on this cold, blustery day.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, what we're going to talk about here on our show today is something very important. And I know that's something that you've been trying to get out to the public, and something that is needed to get out to the public and can be a lifesaver in many events. And that's the Lifeline Law.
Exactly right.
And so give us a little background here. What introduced the Lifeline Law, and how did this whole thing get started?
Well, first of all, I live in Indianapolis. My wife and I are in the northeastern part of Indianapolis, and we've got 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And I think you know me well enough that most legislation that I work on comes really as either a homeowner or a husband or a dad.
Right.
And I have 3 kids that 2 are in college right now, and 1 had graduated several years ago. And the Lifeline Law really came onto my wavelength 3 years ago when 6 university student body presidents came to my office and said, you know, we have agreements with local police regarding when we have parties, and if someone should drink too much, we have agreements that we can call 911 and they're understanding that we're just trying to save a life.
Right.
But we believe that it ought to be in the code. And I agreed. I agreed to actually think about it. It took me about 30 days because I didn't ever want anybody to think that I was agreeing that underage drinking was acceptable.
Right.
But I do believe that people make mistakes, especially teenagers,
yeah.
And the law ought to be gray. And so we came up with a piece of legislation that really was centered on alcohol, and that if an individual under 21 would consume too much at a social occasion, that an individual could call 911, and if they would stay and cooperate, and the people at the party, if you will, would be cooperative as well, then they would all have immunity. Mm-hmm. And that really was the essence of it. And in subsequent years, we've improved the law.
Have you found out when you started, did you think, man, I don't know if this is going to open up a can of worms and I'm not going to get much backing on this, or
yes.
Did you find just the opposite? How did that come?
I thought that this would be a real dogfight. And interesting, those 6 kids that came in, they testified on the bill, they helped write the law, and not a negative vote on committee in either house, and it just blew through both chambers. There's never been a no vote on this bill in the last several years when it's been in front of a body. And recently, what we did was we really outlined it so that it's in need of medical attention, because we know a lot of kids who might be in a fight or fall downstairs. And drugs could become involved, but what we're trying to do is save lives, and that's really the bottom line.
And that's primarily what I've heard that it's been posted as. This is a life-saving law. This is not anything that if you do get immunity, that's great. That's understandable, and you're doing something, but it's to save lives out there. Somebody that's made a bad decision, and that happens every day.
Right. And we actually talk about this, #MakeGoodDecisions.
Right.
And I've talked to probably about 22,000 people, 22,000 kids in the last several years. And down at Indiana State University in the residence halls, they have 911 phones actually on each floor. Mm-hmm. So that if somebody's having a problem in the room, you can call 911, no questions asked, immunity. And so the universities have been very, very good about playing along with this and working with us. And the Attorney General and I have been on college campuses for the last 3 years, and it's been a really interesting process. And the whole issue is getting the word out.
Right.
And this last fall, we were able to raise a little money, and we actually put a digital campaign together. And if you have Pandora, or if you're on campus Wi-Fi, or if you have Facebook, you're going to get a message about the Lifeline Law if you're on one of 13 campuses. And we were so fortunate to send out 6 million messages about the Lifeline Law this last fall on 13 different campuses. So it was we really believe we're doing a good job of spreading the word. And we've actually heard back that people have heard about it, and it's actually saved lives.
Well, that's where you're going to reach that range of audience, is what you're shooting out for with the social media.
Social media.
And that's where they're going to grab it up and pick it up with.
Right.
Did you, and when you were researching this and stuff, is this something fairly new to the United States, to throughout the country, or
actually, at one point I think 11 other states had it. I think it's up to 17 now.
Okay.
And every state is a little different story. Out in the state of Utah, it was a pretty gruesome situation that happened that really spurred them on, but the bill failed, and so it's kind of an interesting state by state situation. And you're talking about underage drinking and possibly drug abuse or use, and so people take that very seriously. And luckily, we were able to explain that the law needs to be gray, that a lesson needs to be learned, but it doesn't something that won't chase you around for the rest of your life.
Are we targeting mostly college students, or what's the age we're looking at here on this?
Well, nowadays you can talk about alcohol consumption all the way down to 7th through 8th grade, and I spent a lot of time in middle schools and high schools talking about everything from sexting to texting while driving, about suicide, and along with the Lifeline Law, Safe Haven Law,
right.
And these are all issues that the common denominator is people make mistakes, and we're trying to help kids make good decisions.
And I'm sure with that part, when you're talking with them and when you're informing them of the law, the first part is, here's where you can go to make good decisions, where you can learn about this. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, you've got a gray area where you can back up into, and it's not going to haunt you, like you said, for the rest of your life. Yeah,
as I've said recently, it shouldn't be your final decision. That
right.
bad decision of drinking too much or making a bad decision, that shouldn't be your last decision. And for many people, it has been.
Again, we're speaking with Senator Jim Merritt from the Indiana Senate, from Indiana Legislature, and I'm Sergeant Rich Myers, your host for the Indiana State Police Roadshows, what you're listening to, and we are brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. Senator, has this come into effect? Has it been used that you're aware of?
Yes, it has been. It's been used a great deal, and Dawn Finblum is the mother of Brett Finblum, who lost his life August 5th, 2012.
Okay.
And there are many people that have come to her and said, because of your work, and we go out in tandem in talking with kids, because of your work, I've heard about the Lifeline Law, and I had a daughter who consumed too much, or I had a daughter who was at a party, and they knew to call 911, and they would not get in trouble, and
right.
it would not follow them the rest of their life. And that's really the essence. Is the challenge has been getting out the message, and
right.
and because there are a lot of people out there that don't believe what they hear, and don't trust it, and this is absolute truth. There is immunity for those that save lives.
I know a lot of times when we go out and talk, the grown-ups, the mm-hmm. kids don't want to listen to the grown-ups. Mm-hmm. You know, we've been there, know that, and that you're old and we don't listen to what you say. But do you have any groups of kids at colleges and stuff that push this also? Are there groups helping you out with this message?
We've got a variety of student body. Every campus has, for instance, at IU, Indiana University, a culture of care.
Okay.
And there are a variety of places. Interestingly, the restaurant industry, the packaged liquor industry, Big Red Liquors has a billboard campaign going up and talking about the Lifeline Law. I mean, we have a team that is second to none. The people at Butler University have been so helpful with this law. So it's statewide, and it took some recruiting, because a lot of people just don't believe that they have immunity, regardless of what happens at that party.
Yeah, they're going to think that it sounds too good to be true. Almost.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and they think, well, the devil's in the details.
Yes.
But the Attorney General has been quoted umpteen times that he's never seen a prosecutor try to double back and do something, because it just doesn't. They've got too many other things,
yeah.
And a lesson learned type of situation occurs, and they think that's the best.
If I'm a parent with some children, like you said, middle school, even up to college, how can I learn more about this law? Where do I go? What can I do?
Well, we have lifeline.org, and it explains the law. There are many ways that one can learn about this. The India Youth Services Association is a partner in this, IYSA, and you can follow me on Twitter at Jim_Merritt. I continually talk about the Lifeline Law, and we go by hashtag Make Good Decisions, and we talk about a lot of different things. And I talk about everything from fighting blight to drugs because of synthetic drugs, all the things that are actually challenging our kids and our adults in our society today.
And I know when some research that I was looking for when we were talking about this, having you on the program here and looking at it, that according to a study done by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, a college-age student dies from binge drinking every 44 hours.
That is an astounding statistic that I've seen before. And today, kids are surrounded by social media and all the different factors that come with that, and all the pressures, and we also have binge drinking of spirits.
Yes,
the handles, the big bottles of vodka, and that is what they're consuming these days. And when I was in college and before, it was beer, and you can't die from drinking beer. And so today's kids are pressured, and they have different challenges than any other generation before.
Do you find that you're getting feedback from these kids, from the parents, anything that you're going to build on in the upcoming legislature about this? Well,
it's not necessarily dealing with this, but Make Good Decisions really goes through many different issues, such as the sexting, which at one point was a felony. And texting while driving, all these issues that are just small decisions in your life that you've got to make a good decision, because it could end up being death for you or someone else. And so I continually work on issues that affect kids, that for instance, the heroin overdose, where we've introduced Narcan, and I'm sure some state troopers probably have that in their car. And no one should have to die from an overdose of Narcan, or of heroin. There ought to be a way to save them. We need to get to the addict and try to rehab them, but every first responder ought to have Narcan in their car or their apparatus. And so those are sorts of things that we're trying to save lives on a different basis.
Well, we're getting toward the end of the show here, but let's reiterate again. If a person wanted to talk to you about the law, if they had suggestions, or if a parent wanted to talk to you, how's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
Well, it's very easy to drop me an email at the State House. I'm on the website, the General Assembly website. It's very simple to send me a message, or drop me a note in the mail. And we're accessible by phone, and it's in the State House phone book, and it's on the website. I'm very approachable and happy to talk to anybody about questions about the law or any other issue. Out inside my district or out.
And your district again is?
My district is Lawrence Township, really, in the northeastern part of Marion County, and Hamlet Southeastern, Fall Creek Township in Fishers in Hamlin County.
Well, again, this has been Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. I've been speaking with Senator Jim Merritt, and we've been talking about the Lifeline Law, something fairly new. How long has that been in now?
2012 assembly. So yes, it's fairly new.
Very new. And to get the word out, and this is what we want to do, is to get the word out to the kids, to the parents especially, to the teachers, and the college campuses, that this is available. You will not be prosecuted. You got immunity. We need to save that life and make sure that life goes on for that person that's made that bad decision.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Senator. I appreciate you coming in on this cold day, and thanks for being here. And thanks for Tom for getting us on the web again. Thanks, Tom, for back behind the camera, getting us out here on the YouTube. We want to thank him for getting us with us today. Thanks to the Indiana State Police Alliance for having us and sponsoring this show each and every week. Again, we will have more information available as you get on YouTube about the Lifeline Law, and you can just type that into lifeline.org and find out more information. Get with us next week. Make sure that you stay buckled up and keep those kids in the car seats your best protection. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.